Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? It's a little dark on my end. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I was actually doing, can you hear me? Great, not so great. Let me try that one. I think these are paired to my phone. Is that better? Okay, let me see, make sure I got the right pairing set up. Headphones, my microphone is on my Yeti. Yes, can you hear me okay or not really? Can somebody say something so I can hear you?
I can hear you.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Very good. So I'm on camera like all day, every day. So I have like 17 pair of headphones because sometimes the ones over my head hurt too much. I have like a piercing up here, and sometimes that just won't fit in there and it hurts. And I've got one that's on the side. So I really have to switch back and forth all day. I'm sure that's the most important thing of your life, right? Hearing today, Dr. Pam has issues with headphones. Okay, so about 10 years ago, every Saturday was clean Saturday. So can I tell you how much my life has changed in 10 years? Anybody got kids and Saturday was clean Saturday? No, just me? Oh, wow. Okay. So my kids, I have three. They're all grown up now, but mama would get up and put on and make breakfast, put on the gospel music, and they knew that was the key to like it's clean Saturday. So that's what we do today. We get up, we clean the house, we set the rules. Very minutian, very structural family. This is what we do. And you had to take turns cleaning up the bathroom. One of the other things that we did, and I always say to you guys, in order to increase your reading, this is before there were like 1,000 iPhones and all that good stuff. There were always magazines or books in the bathroom. And whichever kid's turn it was to clean the bathroom had to change out the books because we always had a full library of books. And because we really, 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 for you guys, if you're taking this test, you have to increase your vocabulary. You just have to, right? There are words and not the clinical words, it's the everyday words. You're like, what the heck does that mean? So increase your vocabulary. I see a couple people don't have their cameras on, and that is a no-no in my group. You gotta have your cameras on. I'm sorry. I don't care what you look like, what your head looks like. I could care less. And the only reason I got makeup on is because I had to do recording, and this is recorded. Okay. But you have to act like you want to be here because I know when I have to do the Zoom calls and I hate to be there, I'm vacuuming the floor. I'm talking to my dogs. I'm making dinner. I'm making the grocery list. I know none of you. I'm going to turn on my closed caption, guys. I also, again, when it comes to making sure that we learn the verbiage, I'm going to turn mine on and you should be able to see my words. I think you might have to turn yours on to see my words. But as we go over it, it's really important to just learn the vocabulary. As we look at the theorists, we know that certain theorists have certain verbiage, correct? And that's one of the reasons that, well, I think it's a clue in the question. You get that one sentence in there, and like, what the heck are they asking me? But they're giving you some clues in that one sentence. So I just have to know the verbiage of the theorist. Okay. Okay, Rhonda, I can see that. Yes, you know my rules. Somebody I see. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, if your camera is off, you're gonna get called on like 12 times, just so you know. I know I'm college professor. I'm like mean as all get out, but we have an excellent passing rate. Excellent, excellent passing rate. Do what we say, study with us, and you'll pass. We don't want to see you forever. We're trying to break up with people. And again, so like when we write treatment plans, the goal is not to be in the client's life forever, is it? 12 weeks, we're done. Whatever, we're done. So the goal is like we're coming up with a treatment plan. Please agree to the treatment plan, right? We'll get through it and then you'll be done. And you'll be writing on my Facebook page, oh, Dr. Pam, you were marvelous. Thank you. Thank you. I do remind you when you pass, I do take expensive gifts. I'm not your therapist, just so you know. Yeah, I'm good with expensive gifts. Gift cards. Just one of my clients last week sent me I got $50 to Cold Stone. If you know what Cold Stone is, like the really expensive ice cream here. Oh my God. I ain't tell nobody about that. I'm gonna go like 3 times. Okay. But to buy myself. But I think they have doggy cups. So my dogs will get to go with me. Welcome to group, guys. If you're new with me, welcome. I do apologize for running a little bit behind. That's pretty much the story of my life. I have back-to-back clients and occasionally I get to go to the restroom. Tonight, I think it's how to answer the questions. Is that our total tonight? So this is really what we have found. And again, our company is based on research. It really is. I worked for a very large tutoring company about 10 years ago. One of those ones that charges like $120 an hour. And they paid me like $20 of it. And they guaranteed my services. Like, wow, you won't keep all that much money out of it and guarantee my services? And before that, I actually worked. So I'm a social worker. You know, we always had like 3 jobs on the side, right? We always have. Okay. So before that, I worked for one of the major companies that taught. I worked for a company that prepared people in Japan to speak enough English to work in the Olympics. Okay, so I've worked online, I've worked with adults, I've done a lot of just learning what it takes to work with adults. And one of the things that I know for sure is you are the smartest people I've ever met. I learned so much from my groups, and I really appreciate when you share with me. And do you know how I know that you're smart? Because if you were a little bit dumber, you would have passed already. You smart people don't know how to study. You walked into the classroom, you gave your rubric, right? You wrote your little paper, 4.0. Look at me, I'm so smart. You'll not take a standardized test. Yes, nod your head if I'm speaking to you. Yes. Okay, maybe you had a 3.9. But most of you graduated at the top of your class from graduate school. Yes? You did. Let's not pretend, okay? If you were just a little bit dumber, okay, you would have learned how to study. You went home and freaked out. That paper was due the next day. And oh my gosh, I might have to stay up like 3 hours to get the paper done, but you still made an A. The rubric to the T. And what I wish was different is that professor should have said to you, this will be on the test in a few years. This is important for your future. That's the piece we're missing. And I'm all over all of the social media pages, and I will tell you, it's not just a social worker. It's not just the NCEs or the CPCE. It's the social workers. It's the psychologists. It's drug and alcohol people. There's a gap between school and the test. And you've been taught the material. When I reteach you material, that's all I'm doing is refreshing you. I'm not teaching you to be a brain surgeon. You know this stuff already. I'm refreshing you, right? And then now we're applying that higher level of how to answer the test question, which is applying the skills. And because many of you can tell me up and down, left and right about super, when you get to a question and his name is not there, you can't tell me. Is that fair? Okay. So the way the group works is I'm going to get to some questions. Normally I teach content, and then we go to questions. But today, since it's just a really of how to answer the questions, that's what we're going to focus on. And by the way, it's a very interactive session. It's great to volunteer because if you don't, I'll call on you anyway, just so you know. Okay. Get your money's worth, right? You invested your afternoon and your time to be with me. Get your money's worth. Ask me everything you ever thought that you could ask. Let me help you. That is really my goal. So as I start off, somebody asked me a question you've seen on a test, you've seen in a different source, you saw in a study guide on Pocket Prep that you weren't sure about.
There's one.
So I have one that was, oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Are you sure?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's one on career counseling that I've seen on the test. I've
Hold
seen
on.
on
Is it
the
Julia?
Julianne or Julie.
Julianne. Well, I don't know. Which is it?
Sorry, Julie. You can call me Julie.
You tell me. Okay, Julie. Go ahead.
So there's one on like the career counseling of if you were in a career counseling session, which I guess site would you use to go further into like their personality and what job would be best for them? I don't know how to explain this question. It's been a while since I've seen it. Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
So I don't, but if it said personality, my first thought went trait and factor. And like, so Holland is like the self-directed search. So that looks at who you are and the factors, because that's the one that really focuses on your personality. Was that
But
one of the options?
On net one?
Say again.
Is it the ONET or on net one?
Okay, so ONET would have nothing to do with your personality, though.
True.
So let me just pull those up for you, okay? So when it said personality, that was my first thought, because Holland trait and factor talks about matching your who you are, right, with the job. So if you know who you are and you know about the job, then those two should match. I'll ask you always to also don't take notes. Mindfulness, be with me, just be with me. That it's recorded, you will get everything. And I want you to watch this video 17 times. Really, and that's what I mean. But I want you to be with me. I don't want you to take notes, because you're going to miss something that I say. And I don't want that to happen, because you're going to ask me what I said, and I'm going to say, weren't you listening? And you're going to be mad at me, and it's going to start this whole like projection stuff. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. So just be with me, okay? Okay, so OOH, have you ever seen these when you're looking? So you know that we don't use, the one we don't use now is the DOT. That's the one that had the 9 numbers. And the way it really started when I first did this test, you had to recognize and know the 9 numbers. Okay, so the OOH is the one that, someone tell me what this does.
The OOH gives information about a particular career that you're looking at. It'll give the physical demands of the job, the state wage data, how to enter into that particular job that you're interested in. I use this at work all the time. I'm trying to think of what else it does.
Okay. What do you do?
Vocational counseling.
Okay. So absolutely. So the OOH now is thank goodness computerized. Before it was a book. And it came out every few years. Now it's usually updated pretty often. So this was updated a couple months ago. Okay. So it tells you everything but where to get the training. It tells you what you need, but not where to get it. So I like this a lot with anybody. So whether you're a counselor, or doing a vocation counselor, or you've got someone who doesn't know what they want to do. So we can look at it. I always look at the highest growing jobs. Let's see what's faster than average. Okay. What's an actuary? Does anybody know? It's an insurance guy. They tell you like how much your life is worth. So when you're buying like life insurance or things like that, they usually do some math part to kind of analyze like what you work. So most actuaries work for the insurance companies. So if I'm a company and I'm trying to buy life insurance or health insurance for my company, and they're going to look at like how many people have like COVID and how old they are and all of those things, that's an actuary. So if you're a numbers guy, that's a perfect thing for you. Make lots of money, and you only need a bachelor's degree. So that's what it does. It really kind of gives you what you would make, more about the job. and whether or not it's hiring. Okay. So when you're looking for a job, you don't want to look at ones that there's no new jobs opening. Okay. So that's the OOH. It tells you Occupational Outlook Handbook. It tells you everything but where you need to get the training. The ONET is what you just mentioned. So the ONET took over for the DOT, the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. Okay, and you can just put in again what you're looking for. Well, let's see what's in. Got a bright outlook, rapid growth. Oh, same thing, actuaries. Y'all need to learn some math. Most of us in this field, because that was not our thing. Right? We picked up the syllabus and said, oh, only one math class, we'll take that. Okay. So again, so acute care nurses is alphabetical order. Okay, but none of these really talk about your personality. So that's the one thing that I really thought the self-directed search, that belongs to Holland, trait and factor. What made the self-directed search so special at the time? Anybody? Go ahead, Melissa.
For the self-directed search, it was the first one that was computerized.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that may not be a big deal now, but this was in the 70s. Can you imagine what the computer looked like? It had like be the size of my house. Okay. We didn't have these little cute little laptops and things like that. So this is the one, it's the RIASAC. And remember, it's important to learn them in order because it is hard to be the one across from you. So when it came to personalities, that is what I was thinking about, was that one. Just because what I know about this one is that it talks about my personality, who I am. And that's how we determine, that's how trait and factor works, right? So I like to work on cars. I like to work on puzzles. So you're going to go through and you're going to check each statement. And at the end, you'll get your 3 letters. Okay. So your highest 3 letters are going to be called your interest code. That is your RIA, SEC, whatever it is. If it's very clear what you're good at, the high letter, you got 3 high letters. What's that term called? Differentiated. It's very, very clear that it's who you are. Okay. If I have 6 letters and all the numbers are low, it's undifferentiated. It's not really clear what I'm good at. Okay. So then the goal of RIASAC is, this is the personality part of it. And then the personality part of it is then going to tell me what I'm good at. So again, you add it up, you take your totals, and you should get an interest code of 3 high letters. Okay. And then you take those letters and that then translates into what career you would like. Realistic are people that like things, not people. So it's very rare to be realistic and social. Okay, I'm not saying it's not possible, but most often either I like things or I like people. Okay, I do this all day, every day, working with people. When I'm done, I don't want to speak to anybody. So maybe at the end of the day, I like things better. But overall, I like people. That's why we're in this field, because we're social. We like people. So realistic or hands-on. Investigative, give me some careers other than the ones that are listed. Give me some careers that would be investigative.
Police officer.
Police officer. Anybody in this room that keeps asking questions and gets paid for it? Yeah, you better be investigative, right? Troya, what?
Lawyer.
Lawyer, sure. But we are, right? You do the psychosocial and they come in and they tell you something and you ask some more questions, don't you? She said this, and she said they've been married for 5 years and that baby's 7. Right. That's our normal curiosity. That's where all of us are investigative. We ask those questions. That's part of our job. Okay. Artistic, of course, social, the people that like people. Enterprising, those are people that can sell you anything. They're always looking at what's best for their benefit most often. Okay. It's the girl at the Macy's counter. Christmas is coming up and she thinks that I really need this $120 bottle of perfume that's like this big. Okay, she might be right. Just saying, she might be right. So enterprising are people that can sell you anything. Businessmen, lawyers, definitely, right? They're trying to convince you that the client is innocent. Sorry, my doggies. And also then politicians, right? It's what's best for them. And conventional, of course, those are the people that are very much, they have to tell me where the last dime is. It's the office manager that you go ask for a sticky note and she says, didn't I give you 3 packs 6 months ago? Where are they? So they're the ones that, it has to come somewhere. And I'm definitely glad that we have accountants because I'd be like, whatever. So that's reassess. And remember, it's very unlikely to be the one across from you. It's more likely to be the ones adjacent to you. To be an RIA is very common. Differentiated, if it's very clear what your top 3 letters are. Undifferentiated, if it's not so clear. Now, I'm not really sure that answers your question, though. You remember what the other choices were? Julie?
I have no idea. I don't remember that off the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. So is this the question, Melissa?
I had a different one, if that helps.
Can you see that, everybody in the chat box? A college counselor works with many students in the process of changing majors. Some information which is important, important to this process is occupational trends and projections. At the national level, the document provided such information would be. Okay. So when I looked at this,
yeah,
so when
I just put that in there as an example.
When I looked at the OOH, what I looked at was, what was projected for the future. Okay. But again, the key words, it's a reading test, by the way, if I haven't mentioned that to you, if you haven't met me. So the process information, which is important to the process, is occupational trends and projections. Those were the keywords. Okay, so that's when you said relationship, that's none of these measure relationship. Okay. Questions, guys? No. Okay, let me see who's in my group. CPCE people. Nobody? All NCE people. So 1 CPCE, 2 CPCE. Okay. The CPC is harder. I'll put that out there. You need a lower score to pass, and the score is set by your school, but it is harder. It really is. And I do questions from both, but it's harder. It's harder. But you only need like a 60, sometimes 70 based on your school to pass. The NCE is I think a little bit easier, but based on where you live, determines what you need to score. I always say if you're scoring between 90 and 100, I can guarantee you a pass. That's what we're looking at. Some states as low as 84 this term. Sometimes it's, the 103 we saw in January of last year. We're not seeing that this semester. That's for sure. Okay. So, okay. First time takers. Anyone that's taken this test again, is there something that you recall on the test, something that you just want me to cover?
Dr. Pam, can you talk about, I always get stuck on this, the reinforcements, like the positive and the negative reinforcements?
I can. Everybody gets stuck on this. Okay. Oh. I think I just saw a question like that today. Where did I see it? I'll give you we'll talk about the worksheet and then I'll show you what it looks like in a question. Okay, so this is operant condition. Operant condition is by who?
B.F. Skinner.
Skinner. Very good. Very good. What's the difference between classical and operant?
Is it one is paired?
Got it. So is that classical conditioning is going to belong to then Pavlov. That's a dog, right?
Mhm.
So with Pavlov, the response is something our body does, right? So dogs salivate all the time, no matter what. It's unconditioned in the beginning, and then we pair it with something else, and over again, it becomes paired. Okay. Skinner said, all y'all were just like wild animals. I can train you to do anything with rewards and consequences. In America, just imagine if we decided that if you were stealing, we cut off a finger every time you stole something, what would happen to our crime rate?
It'll go down.
Or you have to walk around like this right there. I'm Pam, how are you? Okay, so that's what he said. So when it comes to these questions, remember, it's not good or bad. It is just rewards. I like the behavior. I want to continue it. I'm going to reward it by adding or taking away. Or consequences. I don't like it. I'm going to add or take away. Right? It's that simple. So don't think good or bad. It's plus or minus. Okay. Who's got a significant other at home? We raise them so fast. No one said me. Okay. maybe. Okay, Leisha, you have a significant other at home, I'm guessing. Okay, so what is something that significant other doesn't do and you really want them to do? Okay, this is a PG show.
Clean up behind herself.
Okay. So you come home today and oh my gosh, not only is the house clean, your room is clean, laundry's done, dinner is made. It's amazing. Do you like that behavior?
Love it.
Okay. So now if you like that, you want to reward it. You want to reinforce it.
Yes.
Okay. So positive is adding something, giving her something for her to do it again.
Yes.
What would you give her?
Flowers.
Is that enough for her? I'm just saying,
It's PG.
trip all the way upstairs, okay? You like the behavior. You want it to happen again. You're going to give her something because I want it to happen again, right? That's a positive. You added something.
Yes.
Now, what would a negative reinforcement look like? You still like what she did, but I'm going to take away something she doesn't like. What could I take away? Give me a chore she hates.
Washing dishes.
You would say, oh, honey, you made dinner. You did whatever I asked you to do. I'll wash dishes from now on. That's a negative reinforcement.
Because it's taken away.
Right? Because she doesn't like the dishes, right?
Right.
So I'm taking away something she doesn't like.
Okay.
Okay. So if your boss said to you, hey, you know what? You don't have to come to work on Friday and I'll still pay you. Would you like that?
No.
You wouldn't like that? You like your
No,
job?
I would.
Whoa, girl. Okay. So if it was Friday and you get Thursday night, you get a call and your boss says, hey, you know what? You've had a great week. Don't worry about coming in on Friday. And I'm still going to pay you. Okay. What is that?
That's still
He liked your
adding.
behavior, right? You did a good job. You did a good job all week. So he liked your behavior.
He's
Oh,
still adding.
What did he add?
Still paying me for not coming in.
Okay. Yes. But you get the day off.
Day off is still being paid for it.
So he's removing the job though. That's a negative reinforcement.
Okay.
You normally get paid anyway, don't you? That's something different.
Right.
But if he says, hey, don't come in, you're good. You worked so hard this week. I appreciate what you did. Stay home on Friday. Did you really want to go to work on Friday?
No.
Okay, that's a negative reinforcer. He took away something you didn't want to do anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So as we look at these, it's looking at the behavior first. And then once I figure out the behavior, I'm trying to figure out, did I add or take something away? Make sense? Okay. Let's start with an easy one. Patricia, number 1.
Johnny puts his quarter in the vending machine and gets a piece of candy.
What is his behavior?
So what is his behavior?
Yeah, what do you do?
He put his quarter in the vending machine.
Absolutely.
gotta-
We're always starting with the behavior, right? That's always start. He put his
Okay.
quarter in the vending machine. Hey, will you do it again?
Yeah, for another piece
Okay,
of candy.
so now I know it's a reinforcement. So now is it a positive or a negative?
Positive,
Because what was added?
because he's getting a piece of candy.
So that was added. So that's a positive reinforcement. He'll do it again.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, Patricia, stay with me. Okay,
Okay.
so now look at number 3.
Mhm.
Do that
You
for me.
Okay. You stick your hand in a flame and you get a painful burn. So
What's the behavior?
sticking your hand in the flame.
You gonna do that again?
No, it hurt. You got a painful burn.
So then that is a
Negative reinforcement.
no. I stuck my hand in the flame. What was added?
The pain.
So then something was added.
Okay, because it was added. That's the positive. I guess
Positive what? Positive
Reinfor-
punishment, right?
Okay.
You already told me I won't do it again. I don't like that.
So I guess I keep getting mixed up with the reinforcement, the punishment. I don't know.
Okay, so hold on, just listen, because you're thinking, and I need you to think. It's not a
Okay.
thinking test, it's a reading test. So, and I'm not being mean to you. I just
I'm
need
not.
you to not think. Okay.
Okay.
So it is not good or bad.
Okay.
It's plus or minus. Remember back in elementary school, you got your adding and your subtracting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a positive or a minus. That's it.
Okay.
There's no good or bad. Okay. I stuck my hand in a flame and it hurt like heck. I'm not doing that again. Okay. So it wasn't, it's the punishment because I won't do it again. That the flame, the pain is what was added. It's not nice. It's just added.
Okay.
Would somebody else like to do something?
Question. So if it's added, it's a positive, it's a
Yes. It's added,
positive
it's positive.
reinforcement.
Good.
Okay, so
No. It's the behavior first. It can be a positive or negative reinforcement or positive or negative punishment. We're always trying to find the behavior first. Okay, so let's look at number 4, Natalie.
Bobby fights with his sister and does not get to watch TV that night.
What's the behavior?
So they're fighting.
Okay, so Bobby fights with his sister. Okay, so will Bobby do that again?
No,
So that is a what?
that is
Reward or punishment?
that's a punishment.
Exactly. If I won't do it again, it's punishment. Now, was something added or taken away?
Something was taken away, was the watching the TV at night.
Okay, so now this is a what kind of punishment?
Negative punishment?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So punishment, so start with the behavior and look what something is added or taken away. Okay, that's the goal, is got to figure out the behavior first.
Behavior.
Okay, behavior first. So when you get a question, I'm looking at the behavior. Okay, and then that's how we go from there. Let's see here. I like this one. Let's go down. Okay. Melissa, set forward number 1, Lindsay.
Lindsay, did you say number 1, set for number 1? Lindsay
set
breaks
for
the
number
law. Thank you. Lindsay breaks the law to go to jail so she can get free meals, free health care, and a roof over her head. So the behavior is that she goes to jail.
Okay. Well, Lindsay, this one
Then
again?
well, yes, because
She
she is actually
will.
getting Mhm.
Okay, so stop
And
there. It's a reinforcement. It worked out well for Lindsay, right? So it's a reinforcement. Now was something added or taken away?
it's positive because she was given free
Okay.
meals, free health care, and a roof over her head. So it's actually, she did it for a positive reinforcement.
Okay, very good. Now let's look at number 14. Same thing, Melissa.
Okay. Angelina is convicted of breaking the law and goes to jail, which removes, keyword, her freedom to do as she pleases. So she's not going to do it again, which means it's a consequence and it is removed. Her freedom is removed. So it is a negative because it's taken away, consequence.
Very good. Very good. Anybody else want to do one? If you're stuck, just let's try one. Be brave.
There
Go
was
ahead,
one
Melissa.
up there at the very first one that sounded kind of funny. It was about the dog pooping, but I didn't have time
Okay.
to break it down. It was
Okay.
kind of, I wanted to break that one down.
Number 8. Do that one. Go ahead.
So you walk the dog to avoid having the dog poop in the house. So you don't want her to do that.
So what's the
This
behavior?
is a weird one. So the behavior is walking the dog.
Okay.
And then negative because of the word avoid, it's being taken
Ding, ding.
away, a
ding,
negative
ding.
reinforcement.
Absolutely.
A negative reinforcement.
Absolutely. Whenever I
Okay.
see avoid, it means it's a negative. I took something away. Jessica, would you like one?
I understand these, but I do have another question after this, please.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. Everybody else good with this? Troya, you sure? I see a look on your face is like, I don't know about that, Dr. Pam.
So negative, taking something away is negative, right? Adding something is positive.
Absolutely, but it depends on whether or not we like the behavior or not. Okay. Let's see here.
So there's one up there that says someone takes their bike helmet. Oh, right here, number 13. So Sue wears a bike helmet to avoid a head injury.
Got it. Okay. So what is that? So look at the behavior first.
So her behavior is wearing a bike helmet.
Okay.
And you said avoid is negative.
So will she wear a bike helmet again?
Yes.
So that's reinforcement. Now was something added or taken away? When you say avoid, so then this is a
Negative reinforcement.
absolutely. Okay, we good? Okay.
It doesn't
Melissa,
make any sense.
go ahead.
And I
It
have,
does-
is it
so-
Nat?
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking.
Is it Natalie? It's not Natalie. I saw you shaking your head. I hope you're right here with me. It just doesn't make sense.
No, I'm just like focused. Like it's like it's kind of, I want it to stick a little bit because I'm focused because it's like I don't understand why.
I don't need you to understand why.
Okay.
Behaviorists are behaviorists. Remember, behaviorists, you could care less about your feelings, your thoughts. Oh, your dad died yesterday. I'm sorry. I still need you to stop smoking. Behaviorists are behaviorists. There's no feelings, no thoughts. I don't need you to understand why. I need you to understand that if I don't like the behavior, I'm going to stop it with rewards and consequences. Okay. I live I work in North Georgia, and there's a super speeder law. So I may or may not have gotten pulled over sometimes. So when I pretend I was super speeding and I get pulled over. So they don't like that, do they? So he's going to punish my behavior. So what would a negative punishment be?
You
You
get a ticket.
Taking your
Drive.
license away.
I could lose like that. My license taken away. That's a negative punishment. He removes something, right? Could remove some dollars out of my pocket. Okay. What's a positive punishment?
You don't get a ticket.
Okay. So adding or subtracting. It's that simple.
So I that question with the helmet thing, I think
Mm-hmm.
kind of threw me off when someone said the avoid part. Like Sue wears a
So avoid always means a negative.
avoid always means a negative. That's probably
So
I
if
don't
you
like that.
So say like Dr. Pam went the speed limit to avoid getting a ticket. That would be a negative punishment.
That would be a dream. Dr. Pam with the speed limit. Okay. Let's go back to that. So, oh gosh. So Dr. Pam with the speed limit. I
Yeah.
always drive the speed limit to
Mhm,
avoid getting a ticket.
mhm.
I'm going to keep doing that, right? So I'm reinforced. The behavior's reinforced.
Right.
So I don't want to get a ticket. So I know I'm avoiding that. So that's a negative reinforcement.
Okay.
I keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing, so I don't get anything added. Make sense?
Mhm.
I try to stay off the main highway now. I go the back roads, so you really can't. It's really not my fault. I drive like a Camaro. I'm just going to say they look. It's them. They look for me. It's okay. Melissa, you had a question.
Yes, so I can really take it two ways. I'll save research assessment stuff for later. So when I took the CPCE, I had two questions regarding high context and low context. Now I can speak to you and I can tell you about them, but the wording threw me off in the question. So again, I can tell you about it all day long, but the way that they had the words, I was running out of time and I threw in the towel and I clicked.
Okay,
So
so
I knew it
let
was
me
high context or low, but so if you could just break it down by the question.
Explain it. Yeah, let me explain it. Okay. So, and again, so everything, like we just talked about rewards and consequences, I want you to take that into your practice. You cannot bring your test into your practice into the test. You cannot. But when you're working with parents, working with your own children, you can say positive, negative consequences. Make it part of your everyday verbiage. It makes sense. Okay. And I say that to Melissa because my daughter-in-law is Swiss German. And when she first met us, she's like, oh my God, Americans talk so much. So that to say that, so high context means that we talk and talk and talk, but we don't say anything. We talk about the weather, we talk about the sports, we talk about blah, blah, blah. We talk a lot. Other cultures speak little. And we have to then read body language and all those other things. So it's low context, but it's really high in content. So that's in their cultural diversity. Jessica, I see you smiling. You must not have been born in America, or someone said the same thing to you. You're muted.
Born here, I just agree with this.
Okay. So one of the things I try to remember is our first people are Native American. Do you remember the tree of life? Eddie Murphy had that movie. Okay, you're probably old enough. But every time he spoke, leaves would fall. So the goal is when it comes to cultural diversity, there are some cultures that speaking and talking all the time is just not necessary. So that's what that means. Let me show you where it is. It's a social diversity question. Usually I know the book well enough to find. Chapter. That was into this chapter. I'll just Google it. But yeah, so that's what it means. So most often it's going to be
And one way I try to visualize it, so you know how like when teenagers are always like, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, I'm like, no, you have not given me enough context, right? Right there. So there's not enough words. Am I right on visualizing that? So
So
if they're using more behavior, but they're not using enough words, so that's
it's a cultural question.
okay.
It's only using cultural. So yes, so I would say more clarification, but it's a diversity question. So that's what it's trying to measure. Do you understand that? Do you see? So high versus low versus cultural context cultures. So high context and low context. A high context culture is a population which relies heavily on nonverbal and implicit communication, implied.
Will the
We talk a lot, but we don't say anything. So we have a lot of verbiage, but we're low context culture. We talk about the weather. We talk about sports. We feel like we have to be in a restaurant just to talk. Other countries don't think that way. Other countries will, you know, with my daughter-in-law, well, they can be both sitting in the house reading a book and not speak forever. And when they speak, it matters. And there's also a lot of things that they don't say that they read on. We talk. Does that make sense? High context and low context cultures are the end of the continuum, portraying the level of explicit information and the importance of context in given culture. They indicate the range of communication tools, verbal messages, gestures, etc. Examples of high context. Okay. I'm always going to say to you, if you choose to use Google, put in plus psychology. So I know what I'm looking for. So don't just Google this and put in plus counseling, plus psychology. It's also in the Helwig book, and I'll have to find where it is in the Helwig book. But that's what I'm looking for, is knowing the difference between high context and low context.
So you would be low context and your daughter-in-law would be high context.
Yes. So I talk all the time. Well, I take that back. I think whatever I say is important. But it has also to do with the nonverbal cues. Low context cultures depend on verbal communication and explicit. So we are a low context country. High verbiage, lots of words, but the words don't mean a lot.
I remember the question, it was this paragraph really kind of sums it up, because it was really talking about like the verbal and the nonverbal and the behavior aspect, and that's where I couldn't visualize it in my head. So, and it was talking about using hand gestures and stuff. Yeah, I'll need to read it a bunch and then it'll sink in.
I'll put this in the when you go back to the platform, I'll put that in the chat box. So again, so I always think about Eddie Murphy's the movie. He was Native American. So Native Americans, First People, many times have a very high context but low verbiage. So when what they don't say matters as more than what they do say. We just talk as Americans. We just talk to talk to talk. Okay, Jessica, you had a question also?
Yes. Y'all, Corey, and Tuckman are similar, but I'm trying to wrap my head around Corey, and what the group leader needs to do in each stage.
So what I normally see on those, it has more to do with knowing who does what. So Corey is the only one that has a pre-group, right? And the AGSW, the American group of the American Society for Group Workers, AGSW, says you should always have a pre-orientation. But Corey is the only one that does that. So if we look at the stages, what we know then is the first stage for Corey is he hasn't met anybody yet, right? So what happens in the first stage of Corey is a matter of just before I've met anybody. So I cannot say that's really the first stage. The first stage of the others is when we meet somebody, we start. So so it's forming, storming, norming. So forming is the same as the second stage of Corey, which is the initiative stage. And it's then the orientation stage for Yala. So what I might get a question, and they really try to, I think that's sometimes a little tricky because they'll say, according to Yalam's stages, but Yalam's stages don't match up with everybody else's because his first stage is a pre-group and it's not a full group. Now, Yalam in particular talks about the roles of a therapist. He talks about meaningful attributions, caring, warmth. Is that what you're referring to?
Corey stages.
Okay, let me get there.
Like in the transition stages.
The transition is the same as what stage?
Is it
transition? It matches up to which stage of Tuckman? What did you say? Say it again.
Is it conflict or storming?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what do you do, no matter what therapist you are, what do you do in that stage?
That's when the counselor help
We just let it ride.
address any issues, anxieties anyone's dealing with.
Just let it ride. If I'm addressing anxieties, that's going to be in the forming stage or the first stages. And the storming stage is a normal part. It's a normal part of group. So I call it jockeying for positions, right? Everybody's trying to figure out who belongs where and what their spot is. So most of us, I'm just going to write it out. Let it ride.
Okay.
Okay. So then Corey, of course, I said step one is just a pre-group. We're not worried about anything there. Okay. The initial is really his first group. And then you talked about then the transition stage, which is the same stage as of conflict or storming. Okay. Let it ride.
Okay.
Okay. It's part of group and they have to go through it. Okay. Creates a supportive, trusting climate, address anxiety and resistance, provide a role model, identify behaviors, both positive and negative. Most often, I'm just going to, that's why I'm be so Carl Rogers. Tell me more. It's a normal part of group. Okay. So no matter which theorist I am, it's still the same behavior. They're going to say, what do you know about drug and alcohol? You've never been a drug user. Why can't you can't tell me nothing? Blah, 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 blah. Any group people in here? Is that what you see many times?
No, the groups that I've worked with, I think
What'll
there's
happen in the working stage if group members begin to give you stuff, right? At that point, if we're in the close stage, well, your members are going to step up, right? They're going to say, "Stop saying that. Or why are you doing that? That's just resistance, John." But in those early stages, they haven't built that bond yet. So I'm just going, yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? Did I lose you? Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. Thank you very much. I switched. Okay. So given the theorist, right? So the stages of group, Tuckman, he's mine. That's what I was taught in school. That's what I mainly teach. But remember how they line up. So Yalom, right? Yalom has the orientation, conflict, cohesion, and termination. And we also have to know Yalom's curative factors. He's a biggie. Okay, I'm going to just pull up some questions because what I find is, so tell me, what material are most of you guys using?
Hellwig, Pocket Prep, and you.
Good choices. What else? You're gonna pass. You're great.
I used the second time I took it, the exam, I used Rosenthal. I didn't really like it, but the first time I took the test, I was using Hellwig, I think it was a book. But
And
I
you
feel
left Hellwig to go to Rosenthal?
first time I took the test, I did Hellwig.
And
And
you left Hellwig to go to Rosenthal. Tell me why.
I guess because I wanted to try something new. I failed the test by like maybe like 10 points. I was in DC. I tried Washington DC. And then I was like, let me try Rosenthal. And this was I took the test in Maryland and I probably failed it by like 15 points. So and then also I took these 400, 500 quizzes. Like it was, I don't know what book it was. It was a manual that had a whole bunch of quizzes and I was taking.
So I don't know when you took it, it's a 750 book now, that one, or the green book, which
No, it was
one
a
is it?
751, the
Yeah.
whole
Yep.
test. So I just took the test and then then I tried to, study off, like get all the information from all the question answers so I can get it. But so yeah,
I'm a little confused. So when did you actually study?
The second time, so it was a gap. So the first time was, 2017. I did the whole Hellwig book, and then I took a break, and then I recently.
Again, let's go back to the question. What does study look like for you? And I'm not trying to call you out. I am really not. I'm gonna call everybody out first of all, just so you know, nothing personal. Okay. But again, like I said earlier, most people just don't know how to study. So I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to tell you. So when you said study, what does that look like for you?
So my studying, how I did it for this test, I probably gave myself 2 months.
Okay.
2 months. And I studied each section, like, and how I study, and I just write the question, I read and I write the questions out so that I can remember because
hold on. Okay, again, what I heard you say is you took questions. Did you actually study that wasn't based on questions?
Probably not how you're analyzing it. I just
okay. Let me just make sure we're clear. Okay. Yeah. Taking tests is not studying.
Yeah.
Okay. And not just you, people do it all the time. And for most of you, that got you through grad school. But this is 6 years of school in one test. And I like the fact that you did the time, because you definitely put the time in, because we definitely say 90 days. We say 6 days a week for 3 hours a day for 90 days. We say that you know it when you can actually tell someone, you can teach someone. So if you can teach someone all 3 of Super's theories, and we do all realize Super has 3 theories, right? We know that. That is like, oh, I don't know about that, Dr. Pam.
You know, 'cause it's like I put in a lot of information in my brain, and it's like I'm reading it and I don't remember some things. I don't remember. And
So that's it. That's the problem. That's the problem.
yeah.
Most of us are auditory processors and we really don't realize it. So most of you took notes your whole life and it got you through that short period of time. So what we say is watch our videos over and over and over and over and over until you want to vomit to everybody in your house. It's like, can we get rid of Dr. Pam now? Oh, mother, we don't like Dr. Pam. During dinner time, when you're taking a shower, when you're at the gym, I want to be in your head over and over. The same videos over and over and over again till you can tell me the stupid little jokes that I say. That's when you know it. So when that question comes up, like, oh, Dr. Pam said this, that's when you know it. And I promise you, most of us are really much more auditory than we really know, because we listen to music and we learn those songs and we know the words to songs that we absolutely hate, and we can still keep singing them. You ever wake up in the morning and you hear a song and you're like, oh God, it's stuck in my head the whole day, and you want to shoot yourself? Okay, that's what I want you to do. Be in your head. We really don't realize that we're auditory processors.
Yeah, I
Okay,
absolutely am. I studied the Purple Book and it didn't help me a single bit because I couldn't.
Well, you had his CDs.
It's boring. I'm sorry. It's boring. Let you know that.
I was being so facetious.
It's boring.
So boring. It makes me go to sleep.
I listened to him talking and and I'm like, even the first.
Pay attention.
What
I said you can't pay attention.
It's like, yeah, my attention span is like, okay, like I gotta go wash dishes now. Like it was just I tried to listen the first time I took the test.
Okay, so I would suggest that you listen to mine. I really would. And again, I try to. So first of all, I don't really have a life. So you're the only people I ever get to talk to. So when I tell jokes, it's because there's no one else to talk to. My dogs can't laugh at my jokes. So they look at me like, Mom, shut up. So honestly, just try it, but break it down into small sections. When you're doing careers, you need to watch that career video 3 times a day, or at least an hour and a half, twice a day, right? And I suggest you do the one at night. You play that more often. Research says that we replay what we hear at night 10 times more often than what we do during the day. That's the research based on that says, touch your kids in bed at night, because at night they're going to replay what they hear. Go ahead, Jessica.
That's how I knew I finally learned how to study correctly. After I started listening to Dr. Pam over and over and over, because I started with that Purple Book, and same, I studied it and I failed hard. But then I discovered Dr. Pam videos and didn't have enough of it at the time. But I know that when I got that in me, I took another test and I got so much closer to passing.
So would it be helpful, like obviously, like watching your videos, taking notes, but like I have a long drive to work on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, girl, you are so lucky. You get to watch the long ones.
Okay, so would it be beneficial, you think, for me to like listen to it on my way to work?
Most definitely. Back and forth, back and forth. When you're at the gym, things that you don't think you're listening, you're still listening. We still are. We don't think we are, but we are. It's still in our head. I'll tell you also, and I'm not trying to take any more of your money, but my podcast, the paid channel, there's nobody else but me. Those are the ones that just are my voice. So if the other people in the background bother you, it's like, I don't know, $24.99. I have no idea, but it's cost. I know that's not, if that's somebody else on my staff. But those are just me talking.
Where do you find that at?
I don't know. Email my staff. My job is to show up and teach. That's all I want to do.
This is your podcast about all of these materials?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna get.
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, and also on the podcast we've got some really personal stories of people that have passed already, and just kind of some inspirational stories of what it's like to have taken it 5, 6, 7 times, and how they got there. But those are not free. Okay, Rhonda.
Hey, I just want to echo back what I heard they once saying. I actually just took the NCE about a week ago. The test wanted, I had to make
Rhonda, why are you still here?
list because I missed it, but I had the test was an 88. I had an 83.
Girl, I was in the same boat as you last month. It is so frustrating. It makes you want to
And I'm
scream.
saying, I think I also disencouraged that whole. I just didn't want to go to work or nothing. But at the end, I think
Rhonda, did you change answers?
what happened? The test. I didn't.
What happened was any story starts off that way.
I didn't change answers. I didn't change answers, but what I attempted to do. But what happened? They had the test froze, and the proctor had to come in, and it took us 9 minutes to figure out what to do next. So I started getting a little stressful.
Okay.
And the clock started moving during the process. So then I'm like, oh my God. And I started just kind of got a little anxious.
Okay.
But so that's, I think, what happened for me. But I will say this, watching her videos, listen to them, because I would ask, okay, hold on. When it came to a different thing, I said, oh, Dr. Pam said, when she said you hear her voice, you would hear it. I'm serious. It's like, she'd be like a little guardian angel sitting over there just listening to you. And I watched her videos. I put the 3 hours, one in the morning, one in the evening during my lunch break. On way home, I listened to the videos. If I studied careers, I stuck with careers. I didn't go from career to groups, then groups to family. I didn't do that. You stick with one section and get all the information you need.
That's the way to do it, is each section at a time. So because once you learn Super Holland and Tiedemann O'Hara and you know, Godfrey's son and Rowe, all those things, we have to just know them, because the questions are not going to say who is Godfrey's son. It's you're going to have to figure it out based on the content that you know. So it's application style. We have to apply it. Okay, so number what?
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
And it is a reading test. It's like, it's not something that you can go in and just memorize.
No, it's not.
Separate assessment and research.
You can't
assessment and research you memorize.
Yeah, you can't memorize. This something that, I mean, they're not gonna say this Donna Super, this Piaget. It is gonna tell you, and you just got like, wait a minute, who is this? Who is talking about? What is talking about? You gotta really break it down, and come with your answer like that.
Okay, I want to get to some questions so we can really see what it looks like in a question. Okay. If you've seen these questions before, please don't answer. I'll pull up a different set. I've got 1,001 questions. Okay. Volunteers. I'll start with volunteers first. Melissa. Number one, please.
This one.
I remember this one. That means you can't do this set.
Well, answer number one is C, because I see the answer.
Well, let me share the right screen then. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's try that again. Okay. So we're going to skip
answer
number
C.
one. Then let's stick with that one though. Okay. Some research indicates. Okay. So when I see a question like this, that means I should have some knowledge about group. Okay. And the rule is I always want to read all four. Always, always, always. Even if I think I know the answer, still read all four. It won't change your answer if you know it, will it? But it helps me make sure that I can rule out what it can't be. Because some of you will see, you'll see a key term and see a theorist, and you go pick it, and you haven't read the question. Okay. So A, using structured exercises early in the group can impair later communication between group members. Okay. So would that be true? No, because what happens in those early stages, I want structure. I am not sharing any of my stuff with y'all. I just met y'all 5 minutes ago. So if the leader gives us a icebreaker, right? He tells us exactly what to do. We like that in the beginning. Because in the beginning of all the stages, I'm talking just to the therapist. I'm not looking in around the room. I'm just looking at you. The goal of group therapy is to go from it being leader-led to very much then being group-led. In the beginning, I'm like talking to everybody and I'm like, okay, they're all asking me the same question. And by the middle of it though, I'm sitting back going, okay, right, we're good.
Mhm.
I know that the other members are going to sanction each other. They're going to support each other. So I know that A is not true. There are no appropriate structured exercises. Why is B wrong? What's the key word to let me know B is wrong?
The word no.
Absolutely. Any absolutes. Always, never, no. That's not true. That's a big old keyword. That can't be the right answer. And then C, of course, is the appropriate one. Using structured exercise with feedback early in the group can improve communication between group members. Okay. Right, good with that? Even though you know it was C? Okie dokie. Number 2, volunteers? Must you know the answer to this one too?
I didn't see it, so I truthfully don't know. So let's see. All right. Which of the following statements indicates a focus on process rather than product? So we're focusing on the process of something.
Before you go there, can you explain to me what the difference between product and process is?
So the product, without fully knowing the answer, so I'm just going to go off of basic vocabulary, right? So product being like a result, something that happens, the follow-up of maybe an action, the process being something along the way. If I'm going to break that down. So
yeah.
now I'm going to go to the questions and see if I can match that.
I want to stay here for a minute, okay? Product groups, and this is always a test question, are behavioral. Those are the people that it's a very structured leadership. They're trying to go to DUI classes. They're trying to get their kids back. It's a very structured, a very authoritarian leadership or autocratic. DUI classes, you go in, you watch all those gross videos, right? You don't really bond with the people in your group. That's not the goal. The goal is not the process. It's the product. 12 weeks. Content is what you're learning. You can learn content either in product or process. Product does not go through the stages, the norming, forming, storming. We might, but that's not the goal. The goal is to get this sheet of paper. It's usually very behavioral, and then we're done. Okay. Process is going to be a group then where we are, and it still can be, drug and alcohol, but we're working through, our own interpersonal stuff. Right. That's the forming, storming, norming. What were we going to say? I know your name is not focus counseling. Focus counseling. What is your real name?
Rochelle.
Rochelle. Oh, Rochelle, I didn't recognize you, girl. You snuck in my group, didn't you? How are you?
I did.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
It is good to see you.
I didn't know I thought my mute button was off. I wasn't trying to actually speak. But...
Okay, so now going back to number 2, Melissa.
Okay, and sorry, on the very first part, I had distractions. So I heard the second part of what you said. I have to go back and listen to this. So still, let's break it down. All right, so you frown whenever Margaret speaks loudly. Again, we're thinking process over product. I hear anger in John's voice. Mike seems a bit introspective today. Or Alice seems more relaxed in this room. Okay, so we're thinking group leader, right? A group leader would be saying this, and we want something working on the process. So which ones can we take out? Oh man. And again, Dr. Pam, I've been in one of your videos before and I said the same thing. I'm going to say it again. This is why I do not test at night. I test first thing in the morning because I have a hard time breaking it all down. So here we go. Frown whenever Margaret speaks loudly. I hear anger in John's voice. Mike seems a bit relaxed in this room. So I think I'm going to take out D.
Okay.
I'm going to take out D. That seems more product focused. And I would take out A. I feel like both of those are I feel like both of those are product focused. Am I right so far? No, gosh
Nope.
darn it, Dr.
Nope.
Pam. All right, I'm gonna phone a friend.
Your answer is A.
Can you break that down?
Somebody in the group tell me why answer is A. How is A different than the rest of them?
I can explain my way, if you don't mind, Dr. Pam.
That's right.
Why A is accurate is because if you look, it say you frown whenever Margaret speaks loudly. Something took place for you to frown. The process is
A is the only one that includes more than one person.
right. So something happened, you got you and Margaret, and then something happened when you frown, Margaret speak loudly. Everything else is just straightforward. I hear anger in John's voice. Might seem big this way. So everything, the product, is just a little more straightforward, but in the A, it's a little more things going on. You got several people doing something in the process.
And that's the key. And sometimes you might see this described as attending skills also, right? Because in a group setting, I have to make sure that I'm aware of what everybody does, not just one person. I have to be careful of how they process with other people. Okay.
Rhonda, that was a good explanation. Thank you.
Everybody struggle with that one? It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It was. Okay. So the difference in what she said, right? Because in a group, I'm looking at how you relate to each other, and A is the only one that includes more than one person. I don't write the test. I swear I don't. I don't make it up. 4 volunteers? Cynthia Ibarra Silva.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good,
Okay,
I'm good.
number 4. Good. A major advantage of a closed group versus an open group is
So before you look at, nope, stop there.
a closed group. Yeah.
So nope, stop there. Because whenever, especially, I want you to spend more time in the question. So
Okay.
I want you to know what, in my mind, I'm thinking, what's the difference between a closed and open group before I do anything? Okay, so
Right.
what's the difference?
So if I recall correctly, a closed group means, well, let me go to open group because I know that one for sure. An open group is members can continue to come in. And then a closed group means like everybody starts together and kind of ends together. Is that correct?
Got it.
Okay.
Did anybody's mean teacher make them go to an AA meeting when you were in school? And did you have to make sure it was an open group as opposed to a closed group? A closed AA group means they're working on the 12 steps, right? And that step 4 talks about, making amends and like writing down all the stuff that you've done. Okay. So I'm not a history of drug and alcohol, but my list of amends is like this long. Okay. I don't want to start that with new people. So the closed group is because we're working through the 12 steps. The open group, all you have to do is have the desire to be clean, right? So you could have just gotten high in your car and now you're coming in group. And I don't want you there when I'm on step 4 and 5, trying to like do all that good stuff. Okay. Very good. Now.
Okay. A, it allows members to have more frequent meetings. It allows members to have more frequent. So they get advantage of, I'm focusing on why a closed group is better. So a closed group
read all 4 first. Read all 4 before we rule out.
Okay. It allows members to have more frequent meetings. B, counselor burnout is less apt to occur. C, it promotes cohesiveness. And D, it is most effective. So the major advantage of a closed group, I'm going to rule out B, counselor burnout is less apt to occur. Because I don't think that that's determined based off a closed group. I'm also going to roll out D, cost effective, because I don't think that determines it is determined based on a closed group or not. So that leaves me with A and C. And when I'm looking at the keyword major, advantage, although they could have more frequent meetings, I think that when you have the closed group and you're the same people throughout the process, I think that it could promote the cohesiveness of the group. So I'm going to go with C.
Very good. Very good. A can
Okay.
belong to either one, right? You can have groups as it doesn't matter if you're open or closed. Okay. How many people are supposed to be in group? 8. And group lasts how long?
They're like 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Absolutely.
90
Half
minutes.
that for
Okay.
children. Okay. And its group is cost effective. Insurance companies like it. If they can put 9 people in your group. If you work in the real world, they can put 20 people in your group. Let's be honest,
Oh
right?
my goodness.
Okay. So that's very much cost effective because in that 90 minutes, you've seen 9 people and they don't have to pay you near as much as it had you been in a single session. 7. We got a lot of questions to go. Go ahead and volunteer because we're going to get to everybody.
I'll take it.
Okay. Oh,
During
wait,
the
you've had one already, haven't you?
not the questions, but
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead, Patricia, then.
during the first few sessions in group counseling, group members will most likely A, talk to each other and ignore the group leader. B, talk primarily to the same-sex group members. C, unofficially choose a member to act as the group spokesperson. D, talk primarily to the group leader. During the first few sessions in group counseling, group members will most likely. So looking at the first few sessions, I'm going to rule out. I'm gonna rule out A.
Okay.
Talk primarily to the same sex. And I'm going to rule out B.
Okay.
So that leaves, what did I rule out? Okay, so that leaves C and D. Primarily. And this is the first few sessions, so they're already started.
Okay. So what stage are they probably in?
Forming, storming.
I wouldn't think they were in storming yet because they'd be fighting. And I don't see any question about fighting. Right. So forming, orientation or initial, right? Depending on which theorist you use, but that's yeah, it's so early in the group.
Okay. So I'm gonna say it's early in the group. So are they like unofficially choosing a member to act as the group spokesperson, like jockeying for that position?
So you're between C and D.
Right.
Tell me how you're going to decide. What's your process?
If they're at the beginning of the session, I'm going to decide to primarily to, I'm gonna say D because they're probably not really comfortable with each other yet. So they're posing all their questions to the group leader.
Got it. With C, they would have to be close, right? If they can get together enough to choose a group leader, they'd hard to be tight. And the first sections, they're not tight. They're just going to talk to me.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Those who've taken the test before, are these similar to what you see on the test? Okay. And you'll see they're just, they're a little more vague than we'd like for them to be.
Paragraphs, though. Paragraph questions.
I like paragraphs so much better. God, I do. Because the more paragraphs you have, the more information you have to work with. When you get one line, you're like, it's one line. Give me a paragraph. I can figure out a paragraph.
So hard.
So Dr. Pam, for those that have taken it, so I think because I'm preparing myself for the NCE to be paragraphs, right? Because it's more application based. I feel
But
like
you still might
NCE
get,
was like
so
one
you still
sentence.
might
So
get
we might
one
still have
sentence,
this
or yes, you might get, it depends on the version of the test that you get. So you
Okay.
still might get the
Did
one
anybody
line.
have really long paragraphs? Did anybody here have really long paragraphs?
When
It
I
was
took
a
it in
mixture.
2021, it was kind of, most of my questions were long. It was like a vignette. They were kind of lengthy, but that was in 2021. So
Hadn't changed since then.
Make sure you take it early in the morning and really focus, because also got me
Okay,
was
so
the time.
Natalie, just because that works for you,
Yeah,
don't assume that works for everybody. And I think sometimes that's what happens is some say, I saw this on Facebook, they took it at 8 a.m.
it's true.
I would fail at 8 a.m. I don't even know what my name is at 8 a.m. Okay,
That's
I
true.
couldn't do it this late, but ooh.
I'm
And I always
taking
tell
it
you,
at 12 this time.
if that works for you, I also
Right,
tell you
I'm taking it-
also, girls, go ahead and get your face made up for some stuff
Mhm.
on. I know it looks like a passport picture, but when you pass, you won't put the picture on.
See, I took it at 8 o'clock the last time, and I was really, my anxiety was so high because I was rushing, and
Okay.
all I can
I
have
bet your
was
anxiety would have been high, either way.
That's true.
Mhm.
And I bet
Yeah.
if no one has told you, coffee is not the best choice for anxiety.
I
Mhm.
know.
I'm a huge
Right.
fan of accommodations, guys. You know that. I'm a huge
Mhm.
fan. So it does, if you already have a test date, it does change your test date. It'll push you back 6 to 8 weeks, 2 extra hours in a private room. And I say it not only for you, but also for your clients and for your own family members. It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't know you
So,
can get 2 extra. I have an hour extra.
okay, so
I didn't-
you
in
just
a
asked for
private
extra
room.
time and they decided.
Mhm.
You can get time and a half. I got people taking the test in 2 days because they can't sit that long based on medical reasons.
Mm.
Okay. So if you put that, that's what they're going to give you. You have to tell them what you want.
Okay, and I
And
think my doctor did put an hour, but I
Okay.
didn't know I could request 2 hours.
Oh no, you can
mhm.
they will never say no. They will say we need more information.
Okay.
My concern always is if you have that, and this is only in the center. If you're testing at home, no accommodations.
Right.
Okay. I'm hoping we'll get to there, but we're not there yet at home. They'll never say no. They will just say we need more information. Okay. And it doesn't have to be written by a doctor. It needs to be written by a mental health professional or your therapist, your doctor, or your friend that's your mental health professional.
Yeah,
Either
that's
way, okay.
that's what I'm gonna
You
do
don't
now.
have to have a diagnosis. You don't. What you need to have is like GAD like symptoms. So go and Google the symptoms. Test anxiety is not real. Okay. So you have GAD, free floating anxiety, that gets worse with the test. Because we go back to Pavlov, you paired these two things. So your anxiety rises. So the weeks before the test, you can't sleep, right? Your heart is racing. Your mind, you can't process things. So you had GAD. You didn't just come from the test. You've always had anxiety. It just got worse, or it gets worse at test time. I'm also a fan of seeing your doctor, get some drugs. You leave it to live in a legal marijuana state. Just don't try it the first day of the test, right?
Mhm.
Do you
I
know
live in
where
the South. That will never happen in my state. Go ahead, Jessica.
I'm sorry, do you know where the document is that we have
I
to have
do.
filled out?
I do. It's NBCC accommodations.
Yeah, because that got me.
What?
I'll pull it up.
That got me too. Like I was good the first hour, and then I was reading, and then I realized the time, and I started getting really anxious, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I didn't. It was just I started panicking, and I shut down, and I just had to end up guessing some of the questions, and I just was like, "Oh my God, this is not good."
My concern with the people that have extra time is that you make sure that you do not go back and change answers. Never, 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 never. You've got choices. Don't answer if you don't know. If you have no idea, don't answer. Leave it blank. And then go back to the question, and you can answer the question at the end. When you go back, you only get to go to the ones you didn't answer. Don't go back over that test. No one has ever said to me, Dr. Pam, I changed 5 answers and I passed. ever. If it made sense the first time, leave it. So when you're done, even if you have time, only go back to the ones that you did not answer. That's the only ones you get to go back to. Okay. Okay, dokie. Let's get a couple more group questions. We're going to go to something else. So number 8, volunteers. Okay, Melissa, I know that you, when's your test date? You're muted.
Sorry, I thought I muted. December 23rd. So it's coming up. So it is you and me every day, Dr. Pam, whether it's YouTube or private. So
I'm leaving on the 21st. I'm taking a cruise for Christmas. I live in California, LA. Troy, you live in LA? Girl, we can talk about, we can barter some lessons for a girl. Oh, okay. I'm taking a cruise out of LA and I've never been. So I need some ideas of where to go New Year's Eve. We'll be back in LA for New Year's Eve. And my daughter's not old enough to drink legally. So I gotta please. She's 20. Okay. Hasn't had a turn. Okay, I'm just gonna go around the order. Okay, so is she not there? Joanna, are you
there? I'm here. I just don't, my throat is sore. I'd like to pass, please.
Okay, dokie. Leisha, are you there?
I'm here.
You've got the cutest dimples.
I don't know. I can't even see myself on there. Okay.
I'm sorry. That was not sexual harassment. If I give you a comment, please don't blow up my Facebook, Dr. Pam. I just so you know, I'm a big fan, especially girls giving girls comments.
I think so. Thank you.
We need to do that. So, okay.
Okay. So which question are we on?
Number 8.
Number 8, the primary advantage of group therapy over individual therapy, according to psychoanalytic theory, is that group therapy.
Okay, let's stay on the question first. So what's it asking me?
So the advantage of group therapy over individual.
According to psychoanalytic theory, which means
Freud.
Got it. All right.
Yes. So age reduces the likelihood of regression. So I would take that out. Increases opportunities for free association, which is Freud.
I'll give you a hint. They're all Freud.
Okay. Permits multiple transference to occur. No. Reduces incidences of caudal transfer. I would say B.
I'm sorry. Let's follow the process. Let's rule out.
Okay.
No guessing. This is not a guessing game.
All right. So reduces the likelihood of regression. So I would take that one out. So.
Okay. So you took out B? Or you kept B in?
I kept B in.
Okay. So I'm going to take B out for you. Okay. What's free association?
You just speak freely. So that wouldn't be good in a group. That wouldn't be
exactly. If I say dog, all y'all got a different answer, and there's all these people with a different answer. We are not doing free association in group session. Absolutely. That one is out. Okay. So
permits multiple transferences to occur. Primary advantage. So transference is it from like the client to the therapist typically?
So what happens though in group settings when we go from the forming stage to the really tight stage, all of us are kind of like mini therapists. Remember I said that I get to sit back in that cohesive state. I get to sit back because y'all all run in the group. That's multiple transferences.
Okay.
So that's the answer. Because there are many people in group, and not in the beginning, you're just looking at me. But as you get close, then we're doing all of those things. You remind me of my dad, you remind me of my uncle, you remind me of so-and-so, right?
Yes.
So the answer to that one is going to be C.
So I'm confused why that would be an answer again. I'm sorry. It's because it would make everyone else is doing learning from one another, or what?
Because so transference is bringing stuff from a past relationship into this session, right? And I'm putting it on to the therapist.
Yes.
But in group sessions, when we are tight and we're cohesive, everybody's kind of like a mini therapist, right? I get to sit back and say nothing. I'm just facilitating. So you can have multiple transferences because these people remind you of other people in your life.
Okay.
Okay. So the term corrective recapitulation of your primary family group, that belongs to y'all and one of y'all curative factors. Does everybody know what that means? So what it means is I can fix an issue with my mama, with my daddy, with somebody in the group setting. Okay. So reducing the likelihood of regression. Regression is a defense mechanism. What does that one mean?
So you let child
go back and act like baby.
Going back to an earlier state. Okay. So being in a group does not reduce that. Sorry. Okay. And reduces incidences of countertransference. Okay. So that the question is about the person, not about the therapist. Countertransference is the therapist.
Right.
So D couldn't be it either.
Okay.
Okay. See. Oh, Natalie, I saw that hand coming up. I saw the look on your face. It was like, oh.
So free association, because knowing me, I'd probably just pick B because it's like everybody's free associating, talking and things like that, sharing things. Can you explain to me why free association is not part of that?
Let's try this. Okay. Everybody unmute yourself. Okay. We're going to do free association. So I'm going to say a word and then whatever comes to mind, don't think about it. Just give me a word at the same time. Okay. Money.
Bills.
Bills.
Yeah,
Not enough.
Love.
Caring.
Shopping.
Romance.
Do you see now why Natalie, I can't do that?
That's true because it's all
okay. It works okay one-on-one, but in a group full of people, there's no way I can address everybody's. I didn't even know who said what. I like the person who said, when I said love, said shopping. I'm not sure who it was. That definitely, ooh, yes. Maybe why I'm single. Okay. Does that make sense to you? Why I can't do that? Okay. Again, I don't ever want you to use this stuff just for the test. I really don't. I want you to, you already know this stuff. You do it in your office. Just take the verbiage that you use and do it in your office. You can use free association with a single person. You can use it with a couple, actually. Because if I said love and they both said different answers, that'd be a great piece of material to work with, wouldn't it? But I can't do it with 12 people, 9 people. No. Okay. But the goal always is to take everything that you're learning and you do it anyway. Gosh, you do it. This is a very typical question. Okay, volunteers? Okay, I think we're going around the room anyway, so that makes Julie's turn.
My turn. Can I do another one besides group therapy?
Why?
I am not well versed on group therapy.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Natalie,
Okay.
when's your test, Julie?
The end of January.
You got a whole other year to worry about. Natalie? You have to unmute yourself and read it out loud, babe.
Okay, so why can't I feel like I don't see the question anymore unless I
Group therapy? Is the question?
For some reason my screen, hold on. Oh, I pressed something and now
If you just see us, you can make us smaller. You can squeeze us together.
I can see you all, like your whole face, okay, I can see you all. Oh my God, where is it? Okay, let me look. Okay, the question
Oh,
is,
okay, you see?
okay, number 12.
Okay.
Okay, group therapy would most likely be contradicted when working with a client who what?
Say
Okay,
the
so group
question,
therapy,
what does contraindicated mean?
contradiction?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's a medical term. That means this is not medically the best choice. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so group therapy would most likely be contradicted when working with a client who is what?
So hold on, stay with me, stay with me.
Mhm.
In your own words, what does it mean?
So group therapy would most likely be an issue to me
Okay.
when working with the client.
Who would I not put in group therapy? Counterindicator means this is not the best form of treatment. So of these people, who would not be a good person for group?
Okay, so the answers here say A, if it's in state of crisis, finds it difficult to express anger, refers to slow counseling pace, needs to develop a more positive sense of self. These are people who would not. I would
So
rule.
one of these would not be. So let's rule out. So then who would be?
Who would be?
Yeah, let's start with there. I'm ruling those out, right? Because I know
Okay,
what I'm looking
so,
for is one who would not.
who would be? Needs to develop a more positive sense of self.
Okay, perfect. So D is out.
Um, who finds it difficult to no, wait a minute, no. I would say she prefers to slow counseling pace.
Okay.
Those are two I know. And then
So now
I
between
would
A and
say
B, one of
it's
these
A
would
and
not be
B.
appropriate for group.
I mean, some people in counseling have a hard time expressing anger. uh, and then who's in a state of crisis who definitely wants counseling.
Is group therapy, which one of these is
Oh,
best for
okay. So
group
it's group therapy.
process?
Okay, so I would choose the answer I choose would be A, in state of crisis.
It would be. So you see the road you were going down on? You were going down to A and B, thinking, but didn't go back to the question.
That's right, because it's group
Down
therapy.
to the two, go back to the question, right? Then test is written for you to get down to two. It's written that way. And now I can't just compare those two. I've got to go, which one answers the question? Group is okay, right? They're putting people in anger management all day, every day. In crisis, I just met you people. I got a crisis. I don't have 8, 12 weeks to get to that cohesion of stuff.
Makes sense.
We're thinking. You began to think. No thinking. Not thinking test. Not allowed. Okay. Did I change screens?
Dr. Pam,
Yes.
will you be going over some like assessment and research questions?
I certainly can.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is human behavior. I usually go until about 9. Sorry. So if you can stick around with me, you can. If not, it's okay. I don't have a life though, remember. I don't have anything else better to do. It won't always be that way. That's what it won't. It won't. At some point, there'll be a man or woman. No. Anyway, I'm joking. I really like men. I've got my bias. 6 feet tall, 6 figures with insurance, preferably black. If you know anybody, just let me know. Just putting it out there. Okay, human growth and development. Let's go down to number 7. I am with you, Sherilyn.
Pavlov observed that meat powder produced a dog's salivation. He then repeatedly sounded a bell just prior to putting meat powder in the dog's mouth. After several pairings of bell tone and meat powder, Pavlov found that even when the meat powder was not present, the dog salivated upon hearing the bell. The tone of the bell in this situation is considered to be okay, so we're talking about Pavlov and the ringing of the bell with the dog. So it's want to know what is it considered the tone of the bell with the dog salivate? A, neutral stimulus. B, operant. C, unconditioned stimulus. And D, secondary reinforcer.
I'm going to take out B because I know operant conditioning belongs to Skinner. So that's out just because that's out. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm also going to take out D, secondary reinforcer.
So now you're between A
and now
C.
I'm down to A and C. Okay.
Good. That's where you should be. Good.
I'm going with unconditioned stimulus.
You're going to neutral stimulus. The bell wasn't anything. Okay. So the goal was to pair the bell with the food. The response is what we do. The response is what our body does anyway. We cry, we get sad, we get angry. That's a response. So the response is always the body. Okay. So then the stimulus is the thing. So the bell didn't mean anything. What he was trying to pair it to was the food. So the bell is just what he used to pair it to the food. So unconditioned response is what I have first. Unconditioned stimulus was this food over here. Didn't mean anything. These two things weren't paired. And what he did is he paired these things together and it became a conditioned response. My body became conditioned to the stimuli. Anybody have a partner that still excites them? Okay, that's a conditioned response. Right? The first time you saw him or her, it wasn't that big of a deal. But now when you see him or her, you're like, oh, baby, right? Your heart gets racing, some things happen in your body. You've paired that with that stimuli. Make sense?
What's the answer?
The answer is a neutral stimulus. It didn't mean anything. Okay. Phone rings. Everybody got a cell phone? I know you do, right? People, work calls you on your day off? Anybody that work calls on your day off? Oh, you all lucky people. Nobody really? Okay. So most people have paired, when they see that phone number, they have a feeling. Even before they answer the phone, their response is now paired with that phone number. Because when you see work calling, you've got this feeling. Response is how your body reacts. Dogs react naturally. A unconditioned stimulus is the thing. Okay, let's go to number 8. So which of the following words is most synonymous with Pavlov's meaning of unconditioned? So if it's unconditioned, what does that mean? Anybody? My unconditioned response.
It's not paired.
Which other word could I use? You're right, it's not paired, but which other one?
Not conditioned.
Innate.
Innate. Who said innate? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. When Melissa likes her husband, I saw that smile on her face, right? I said, hey, does he still do it for you? Right? You know what? It's innate. She's that we all have that desire, babies. I'm sorry, we all do. Now you've paired it with something and it's a conditioned response. But in the beginning, it's just what people do, just what dogs do. We all have fear, we have anxiety, we all have all these things, and it doesn't mean anything until we pair it with something, and then it becomes conditioned. I said to you earlier that test anxiety is not a real thing. All of us have anxiety. We all do. Maybe not diagnosable, but we all have anxiety. When you pair it with something, it becomes conditioned. But if you paired it with the test, it's a conditioned, right? The test is the stimulus, the thing, the way your body feels is the response. It is now conditioned. But you had anxiety. You were born with anxiety. You just didn't pair it to anything yet. I don't make up the questions. I don't. Let's try that one. 16. Oh, where am I going? Sherilyn was next. Brenda? Let's do 16.
Which of the following principles accounts for the learning of emotional responses such as feelings of anger, fear, dislikes, and likes?
It's asking me. So I had these feelings before, but now I've paired them with something.
Observant conditioning, generalization, classical conditioning, and operant conditioning.
Operant is Skinner, rewards and consequences. So I know it's not operant. It talks about I have learned emotional responses. I had the responses already, but now I have learned them and I've paired them with something.
I don't know what observant conditioning is. That's not
because that's not it. So A and C are out.
A and C are out. Generalization just doesn't make sense. I'm going to go with classical conditioning.
That's what he said, right? So that's Pavlov. That I've always had anger, fear, dislike. I've always had them. Okay. But now I have learned to pair them with something. They're innate to be going with. I was born with anger. I was born with that. And when it talks about learned, that's the key to let me know it's going to operant, to go into classical conditioning. Okay. 17, Melissa, we got a little Erickson question.
A high school senior is experiencing relationship issues with his parents and girlfriend. A counselor adhering to Erickson's psychosocial developmental stages would conclude that this student is. So before looking at the question, I know he's in high school, so that is going to kind of guide exactly where we're going on his stages. And he's having relationship issues with parents and his girlfriend. So the answers are fixated at the conflict in the industry versus inferiority stage. He's conflict at the intimacy versus isolation. He's at the trust versus mistrust, or he's experiencing a crisis at the integrity versus despair. So, intimacy versus isolation would be after you're done with high school. That's the next stage in your 20s into early 30s. So that one's out. The trust versus mistrust, that's let's see, let's go to this. Industry versus inferiority. I was looking for the well, hold on, let me get my brain together. I know what I'm looking for, so let me break it down.
Oh, I think you're thinking.
Okay, B is out. I know. I'm trying to see it in my head. I'm visual, so I'm seeing his little stages in my head. Industry versus
ages. Read the question. Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. So, relationship issues, parents and girlfriend. Let's see. Integrity versus despair.
I'm dying. That's the last stage.
And
he's not there. D's out.
yeah, right. Yes, sorry, that's where I paused. I was thinking I didn't say it. So integrity versus despair is out. So trust versus mistrust, I believe is in the earlier phases. I know
It's the first
industry
one.
versus
That's
inferiority. Yeah, and industry versus inferiority on A, that's where you're really trying to like figure yourself out and what you're good at.
Elementary school.
And so then that really leaves us with trust versus mistrust, because then that can lead us up. No, well, because I was thinking that was at the younger phase, right? Trust versus mistrust is younger.
You're thinking. Stop thinking. Stop thinking.
Relationship. We're going to go with the word relationship. We would go with intimacy versus. We would go with intimacy versus isolation.
Yes. It's B.
But am I right that that's normally later? That's normally in your 20s to 30s.
I get that, but it's a reading test. And if you just memorize those ages, you're going to miss it.
So I was focusing on I was focusing on high school senior and not the word relationship.
Reading.
Okay.
I need you to just read.
Okay. So I was following the stages in my, can you say that I was correct in following my ages of the stages?
Would that have gotten you a point on the test?
No, but I'm just looking for confirmation.
Have all you want, but that's the problem.
But I was
they don't always
focusing on
line
the
up.
wrong word.
They don't always line up.
But I was focusing wrong. Okay,
yes,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So I just want you, and all of you, and you've spent so much time remembering those ages and stages, and a lot of people study with people who aren't mental health people, and they'll get it right. It just, and they're not trying to trick you. I promise you, they're not. Okay. If we go through the stages, there's not, the only one that's closer to him would be integrity. I'm sorry.
Industry versus inferiority, but
exactly
industry versus inferiority for his age, but that doesn't make sense
11.
because
the next one is role versus role confusion, identity versus role confusion.
That's the one I was looking for. I was looking for that role stage, because that you have to figure out your role and where you're at in order to figure out your intimacy and where you can have your proper relationships. So, okay. Thank you.
I see that, because those are the typical ones that we've memorized those and what ages and stages they should be. So just say in the question, if it's intimacy, if it said he was 2 and worried about intimacy, that's a different question, right? You good? Okay. I'm gonna go to. Let's go to. You asked about assessments. Number 3, Cynthia, you asked me about this.
Oh gosh, this is my weakness. Number 3, which of the following is an
the easy ones because they're just memorization. These are the easy ones, I swear.
Okay.
Hold on, take it back over.
Which of the following is an indication as to what percentage of people taking the test performed worse than your client? Okay, so which one of these is going to help me determine how many people performed worse than what my client did? So A, percentile rank,
Do you know the answer?
Do I know the answer? No, I haven't looked at just without looking at the answer choices. Yeah. No.
Okay. So let me explain to you then. So percentage. So if it says you're in the 75th percent, okay, that means that I am holding that slot of 75. So to get the percentile, I go down 1. So to get how many people are ahead of me or above me, I have to use the percentile.
So
that
connecting percentage and percentile?
So percentage is the spot I'm in, okay? So let's say I'm setting in line for ice cream, okay? And I am the 20, they're at the 20, I'm the 25%, okay? So that means the percentile, you always go down 1. So if I'm the 25th percentage, the percentile, I go down to the 1 slot. So that tells you how many people are below me. It's one of the things you don't have to understand. You just have to recall. Percentile is 1 point below percentage.
So then the answer here would be A?
It would be.
Okay. Percentage and percentile rank is 1 below percentage.
Just the fact. Just the fact. Okay. We always say math are these are the easiest because you just memorize. It doesn't matter why. And most of us, every part of the test, I'll say you need to know why and prove it to me. You don't need to know why with these. It is just the fact. 3 times 3 is 9. Did we ever ask why?
No.
Percentile rank is 1 below percentage. Just the fact. Okay. I think that's why most of us don't do well in these, because it's very black and white, and most of us are not black and white thinkers.
Right.
We're gray. Like if 2 plus 2 get to like 3.75, we're like writing, they made progress, right? Math thinkers are black and white, and they're so gray. Okay, we're okay with some gray. They didn't quite get to 4, but we're okay with that, right? So that's the problem, I think, sometimes. Okay, number 4, Troya.
Okay, I guess I'll try. Reliability. Reliability is to consistency as validity is to.
So remember, validity is the most important thing. Does it do what it's supposed to do? Okay, that pregnancy test better be right. It better be right. Oh my gosh, it better be right. Okay, so I can buy, if I bought them at the Dollar Tree, right, and they're all expired and they sat in the sun, and I bought 15 of them, and all 15 said I wasn't pregnant, and I still have a baby. Does it matter if they're reliable? They're wrong to begin with. So validity is the most important thing. Validity is, does it do what it's supposed to do? And then reliability is, if I do it over and over again, will I get the same answer?
So A, truth, B, inconsistency, C,
replicability. Can I replicate it?
Yeah. D, accuracy. So I'm going to take out A, truth, and D, accuracy. And then I have
pregnancy test to be right. D is the answer.
Oh.
Okay. So there are a lot of these types of questions on the test. So they're like metaphors. So if reliable is the consistency, then which one of these terms matches validity?
So accuracy.
Okay. Inconsistency is not accuracy. And just because I can replicate it still doesn't mean it's right. So the only one that talks about it does what it's supposed to do is accuracy. Make sense? Validity is the most important thing. We use this all day, every day in our life, right? You got kids, your kid's telling you something, you're like, is this the truth or not? They can keep telling the same lie all day long, right? That's reliability over and over again. But if you lied to me to begin with, I still don't believe you.
Right.
So again, don't make these big old scary words. Just bring it into your everyday life. That's it. That's it. Your mailman, right? He comes every day, except for the holidays, whatever, rain, sleet, snow, right? That's accuracy. That's his job. The mail will show up every single day. Is it
Right.
always on time?
No.
Okay, so it's valid. He shows up every single day, but he's not reliable.
Right.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 9, Patricia.
Aptitude test is to achievement test as A, career interest is to career development. B, current performance is to potential performance. C, potential performance is to current performance. D, career development is to career interest.
Okay, so what is my aptitude test? What does it measure?
Knowledge.
It measures potential.
Okay.
The ASVAB, it measures if you're good in math and science, all those things, right? That's again what will help me get then to where I need to go. Okay. So that's aptitude.
Okay. Career interest is to career development. Career development is to career interests. Current performance is to potential performance. I'm going to
First, roll out first. It always makes it easier if we can get down to the easy ones, get down to what we know for sure.
I'm going to rule out B and C.
Okay.
And so that leaves A and D. The career interest is to career development. Career development is, and I'm gonna say is A, career interest is to career development.
Okay, I'm a little confused. Where in that line do you see anything about career?
It don't. I was thinking.
Oh, man. According to Patricia and her thoughts, you saw that in the question? Did y'all, maybe I misread. Did y'all guys see some Patricia and career?
Okay.
Aptitude test is to achievement test. The aptitude looks at what my ability is, and then my ability lets me know that I can achieve. Okay? So then, the first word needs to match aptitude, and the second word needs to match achievement. That's how you answer those, okay? So when I'm looking at these two, so I'm looking at another term for aptitude, and then another term for achievement. And I can tell you it's not A or D.
Okay, a minute. So you said the first word.
How to answer these, because it's not just you. Sometimes we just don't know how to answer them. So the first word, aptitude, I'm looking for one in the bottom that measures aptitude. And the second word is achievement. So I'm looking for something in the bottom that matches achievement.
Okay, and I was thinking something different. Okay.
Okay, so I'm down to it's got to be either B or C. Okay. So I said to you, aptitude is for the ASVAB. It measures what?
Skills and what you're able to do.
It measures your potential.
Potential. Okay, so it's C.
And Achievement is what you can currently do.
Okay.
Okay. So it's always a test question. So what happened was the Russians beat us to the moon, and America was mad. We was mad. We was mad. We was mad. Okay. So the National Defense Education Act, NDEA, put money into the schools to get the best and brightest from high school, because this is when the wall was up, right? And we were supposed to be the smartest country ever. So it was a really big deal when the Russians Sputnik landed on the moon before we did. Very big deal. There are movies about it. Very big deal. So what the American government did was put money into schools, and that's when the ASVAB started. So it's measuring your potential. So if you're good in English, if you're good in like math and science and drafting, we wanted you for the military. Okay. And the achievement test is what can you achieve? What can you actually do? Does everybody know that the ASVAB requires different scores to get in? Not a test question, but I did not know that until I started teaching this.
Like 16 or something. 18.
Patricia, I did the same thing. I saw aptitude and I immediately thought career.
And it does, okay, it can belong to career, but it doesn't have to. That's more, we're doing assessments, right? Anybody former military in the room? Okay, so it really is like a okay. So if you have a high school diploma, or if you have a GED, those are the scores. So then Navy, Marines, the Coast Guard is the highest to get in. Just a piece of useless information that you can brag to your friends about at your next dinner party. Okay, if you're ever on Jeopardy. Okay. I really want to, so the thing is with those, you can really, it's always just memorization. It's always just memorization. The hardest part, I think, is always going to be those helping relations, because they're just not as easy as I'd like for them to be. And I think we struggle with those many times because it doesn't necessarily say what we're looking for. Okay, Focus Counseling Center. Number 3. No, I'm gonna skip that one. Number 2. Are you going? Rose, repeat number 2 for me. You hear me?
Can try it.
Okay.
Number 2. Experiential family therapy is focused on A, fitting various theoretical constructs to the unique dysfunctional style of the family.
Can we go back? Can we go back?
Yeah.
Experiential family therapy belongs to who? Experiential means it's an experiment. So in family, that's Whitaker. He lived with you.
Oh, yes.
Okay. The other therapist that's experiential is going to be empty chair guy.
Okay.
So now.
So fitting various theoretical constructs to the unique dysfunctional style of the family. B, the here and now. C, promotion of the development of healthier interaction patterns in the family through therapists, neutrality, and D, projection of understanding.
So experiential therapist is Whitaker. Whitaker lived with you. He wanted to see what it was like to be a part of your family.
Mhm.
Okay. So then that kind of therapist is focused on what? And I said also the other experiential therapist is who? Chris Pearls. So an experiential therapy means you do something. You do something. So talking to the empty chair is something you would do also.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take out A. And uh-oh, I lost it.
There you go. Should be right there.
Oh. So A and D. So I have B and C. So I think the answer is B, the here and now, because he's in my house here and now.
So Gestalt is also an experiential therapist. So it is, you did something. You actually did something.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3, we are with, where am I going?
Can I ask one quick question about Whitaker? What else would be keywords for him? Like I'm looking at him in Hellwig. Like what words would stand out to be Whitaker?
So he's not a lot other than living with you. So there are things, so it's experiential symbiotic. So there are symbols in your home that I would only recognize if I lived with you. Have you watched my videos about the Kool-Aid in my house when my kids were little? Okay, so there was always Kool-Aid, yes. And there's like this much Kool-Aid in the picture. You would not know that unless you live with us. So he lived with you. He just wanted to feel like what it was like to be a member of your family.
So
Okay.
same kind of like with Minuchin and structural, right?
He joined you though. He joined you. He didn't live with you. So he would join you
Right.
so let's say it's dinner time and dad was supposed to be home at 5 o'clock. He would join the family at that time because dad wasn't home. He tried to rock your homeostasis.
Okay. So then really if it comes to Whitaker or if it comes to experiential, we're really looking at that point to decipher, is it Gestalt with here and now and pearls, or is it Whitaker? And from there, we would just kind of break it down by who it's not. We would just have to rule out.
So it didn't, he also is known for experiential symbiotic. So the other part of the other term I'm looking for wasn't there. Okay. Let's go to number 4. Brenda?
All right, discrepancy in a client's message would most likely be dealt with by which counselor response? Interpretation, confrontation, reflection, summarization. Well, interpretation doesn't seem helpful. I could go with any of the three. What's that?
Go back to my question. What's it asking me?
Discrepancy is when what the client's saying doesn't match their actions.
They're lying.
What's that?
They're lying. I'm sorry. They are lying.
Summarization doesn't seem like that would be helpful. I could see confronting or doing reflection. I would imagine that the answer they're looking for is confrontation.
It would be. Okay. What is reflection?
Just repeating what you're hearing with emotion.
Exactly. So not necessarily with emotion, but the emotions the client didn't say. Okay. So go ahead and take number 5 for me, since you got that. Well, you just got it right. So 5 will be easy.
When a counselor restates the affect and content of a client, he or she is reflecting.
There, see, I wasn't trying to set you up. It was you just answered the first one. So go for the second one. Absolutely. Summarizing is at the end, right? We learned this and this and this today, or at the beginning of the next session, right? We did this and this and this. Interpreting is having the client looking at it a different way, which can be the same thing as relabeling, which is strategic, or reframing, which is structural. They all mean the exact same thing. And paraphrasing is how you got through grad school. You changed every 5th word, so the plagiarism app didn't pick it up. Okay. Number 6, Cynthia.
The ego utilizes blank to reduce anxiety when rational, logical methods are not accessible.
Okay, so before we go anywhere, which theory is this asking me about?
Is this Freud?
It is. When it starts off with the ego, I know it's Freud. There we go. Good.
Okay, so it utilizes blank to reduce anxiety.
Read all 4.
Okay, so A, the preconscious, B, the reality principle, C, primary process thinking, or D, defense mechanisms. The ego is my mediator.
Got it? Because my id is my pleasure principle. My id says, Pam, we want to eat,
That's how I
sleep, have
remember it.
sex all day long, forever. My id would wake up with like pizza. Okay, I'm just gonna. Have you ever had like leftover pepperoni and sausage pizza and put egg on it in the morning, egg and cheese, and then put it in the air fryer?
No.
Okay, my id would do that. My id.
The pleasure principle, right?
My super ego says, "Girl, have you looked at your butt in the mirror lately?" No way, no how. So my ego, right, is reality.
The mediator.
You can have pizza, but no, my ego says we don't even order a whole pizza in our house because I live by myself. No, Pam, no. No.
So I know that D, I can roll out D, defense mechanisms.
That's my answer.
Oh, I was thinking B, reality.
The ego doesn't use my reality to reduce my anxiety.
Oh, to reduce anxiety when rational, logical methods are not accessible.
Those are defense mechanisms.
Oh, okay.
My body, what's going on with me, isn't ready to handle the real world. Right?
Okay.
So then defense mechanisms protect me from stuff I just can't handle right now. Most moms, we start off with intellectualization. We get a call, our kid's sick. He's got a fever. Something's going on. Instead of freaking out and falling apart, which is what we'd really like to do, we don't get that option, do we?
Right.
We're here, right? We're thinking about what do we need to do. Let's call the doctor. Let's get here. Let's get there, right? Because my ego can't handle that right now. So defense mechanisms protect me until we get through this crisis, and then I can go back and deal with it.
But I think that's my problem sometimes too, Dr. Pam, is I get excited because I feel like, oh, the ego, it's my mediator, the reality, and then I forget about the rest
You
of the
didn't read. So,
question.
and that's a very common thing because you know what it is. You see the word, you match, and you didn't really read the question. That's a very, very common thing. And glad you recognize that. So all of our defense mechanisms, regression. Okay. It's easy to recognize when it's a little kid, right? Mom has a new baby and little kid starts peeing on themselves. Okay. As adults, you fight with your partner, your spouse, your roommate, and you want to go home and crawl back in your mama's bed. Because it felt so safe there, right? Because we go, that's regression because I can't handle what's going on right now. So the ego defense mechanisms are to protect us because we can't handle what's going on right now. Okay. So what is the only defense mechanism that is not unconscious? There's one that's a choice. Which one is that one?
Suppression.
Yikes! Suppression. That means I remember it. I still want to deal with it right now. So it's pretty common. You've got a elderly woman and you're talking about her, you know, her childhood, and she tells her, yeah, that she was raped by her brother, her dad, whatever, but I don't want to talk about it. She recognized it, but she's choosing not to talk about it. Repression is she's pushed it so far down, she doesn't want to talk about it. Okay. Okay, guys, I gotta let you go. My doggies have to go out. Okay. So I will, in the chat box, there'll be some questions with the responses to it. But what I really wanted to show you today is the importance of understanding how to read the question. Because I think a lot of you spend a lot of time learning content. And then you get to the test, you're like, I didn't see one Piaget question. I didn't see one. And a lot of what we do, especially what Cynthia did, is we see ego, it's Freud, and we pick the same one. We'll say, it'll say empty chair, and we pick a Gestalt, and we didn't read the question because we're so excited that we recognize a word. Okay, and that doesn't answer the question. They're not trying to trick you. I promise you, there's no evil gods out there going, cha-ching, cha-ching. If she misses one in assessment, we'll give her 12 more, cha-ching. They're not. They're not. They're not. Okay. For those who've taken the test soon, again, you know it when you can teach it to somebody. You know it when you have flashcards and you walk by the bathroom and you're putting on your mascara and you see the word and you know exactly what it means. That's how well you have to know it. You know it when you can put it into your everyday, right? When you're at the grocery store and you see that little 2-year-old and he's awful and you're thinking, oh, well, that's Piaget object relations theory, right? I'm sorry, object permanence. Sorry, object relations is Mailer. Object permanence, right? Of course he thinks it's his. He's 2. Right? That's how use it. You do it every day. If a mama comes in with a 2-year-old and he's self-centered, you're going to tell mom how normal that is. Just use the verbiage. You got the holidays coming up, you know, you got some crazy cousins you can diagnose. Don't say it out loud, but you definitely can diagnose, right? You got some borderlines, you're thinking, oh, she needs some DBT. Right? So got some irrational thinking people using the ABCD of REBT. Don't make it some foreign concept over here. This is what you went to school for. This is what you do. You do it anyway, whether you say the words or not. The miracle question, you might have never used that miracle question, but you always have asked the client, if he woke up tomorrow or if tomorrow things got better, what would it look like? Most of us have done that. We just don't realize that it belongs to solution focused, right? Miracle question, accept question, the scaling, right? If tomorrow you weren't depressed, what would your 10 look like? You do it anyway. Just take the verbiage and put it into your world. First of all, your clients will think you are so smart. And so will your peers. Like, oh my gosh, look at her. She knows them words. Okay. Questions for me? Did you find tonight helpful? Okay, I hope so. Okay. Again,
Dr. Pam, real quick. I watched one of your videos earlier today, and you were talking about a game, a NCE game.
okay. So the problem is I don't know which ones are mine. with a staff member that made it for me, and he no longer works for us. That's an old video too. That's
And I was driving, so I really couldn't see it.
It's Cram. And if I log in, I think I can tell you which ones are mine, but I wouldn't recommend that. So just go to, let me share my screen. Okay, sharing. Okay, so I put in NCE, right? So it's cram.com, it's free. And then I'm usually going to find one that is something I can, you can put an LPC, you can put anything, any one of those. Okay. So go to the example and you can do a test if you want. But what I talk about always is the game. Okay. And it's the Jewels of Wisdom.
Okay.
Okay. And the goal is you have to match each side. It's just another way of studying.
Okay.
Thank you. Hold on. Let me just make sure it plays. Come on. You let me sign in. Let me sign in.
Patricia, was that the social and diversity one or something?
Yes.
That's so funny. I watched that one yesterday too. So that's really funny. Out of all the videos, we were watching the same one.
All right. And I just so happened to click on that one while I was driving. So I really couldn't see, but I was listening.
Same thing. That's funny.
Just want to make sure it works. Come on, load for me.
Question.
Doesn't look like it wants to load.
I'll play around with it.
Yeah, that's it. And you didn't have to use to even sign up before. You could just do, you could just come in. But there are, again, so you can go in and you can make a test. There's tests actually already there. Oh, appraisal. And then, so you can do a test. And it'll tell you like what to do and how to answer the questions. Also on Quizlet, you should be able to follow me for free on Quizlet. I think it's Dr. Pam or MC or Dr. Pam NCE. You should be able to follow me there also. So the games are fun, and I just don't know if it's open. No, not opening. I haven't loaded anything up there new in a while, and it says it still works, but I don't know about that. But that is it. But also on my Quizlet, you should be able to see, you should be able to go and see, it might say Dr. Pam NCE or Dr. Pam study class, one of those things. Natalie?
One more time about your podcast. Can you tell me? So I would upload that like on like Apple or wherever.
It's a YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. And it's called just Dr. Pam. Okay.
So all I really want to do is teach. Honestly, I never pretended that. So I am very blessed to hire staff to do the stuff that I am not good at. Nobody would ever get paid if it were up to me. I make my decisions with my heart. Like, okay, come on in. I'll teach you for 3 hours. No worry. And then my staff would not get paid. So I purposely hire people that are very good at what they do, because those are things I'm not good at. Okay, so I can tell you what it looks like from my side. I don't know what, oh, there we go. Okay. But it's going to show me what it looks like from my side, not from your side. So I really don't know. If you will send Prudence Dr. Pam, 2020, my weekend staff. Somebody will answer. Sorry, I just don't. The message I get is, Dr. Pam, we need a video on this, this, and this. But if you haven't subscribed, be sure you subscribe. We release new videos often. And we have also, if you buy the podcast, you get I do a live session for members only whenever I'm told to.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to pretend. I don't care. I just want to show up and teach. I've hired people around me to take care of business things because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to teach. I want to make sure that you pass the test. I want to share all of my knowledge with you. That's all I want to do. And I'm at a place in my life that's where I get to do. So I don't care. But somebody on my staff does. Okay.
Find out.
Just email my staff. Somebody knows the answer. I've got like 15 staff members. Somebody knows the answer. I just don't know. Okay. Other questions? Okie dokie. I do group every week. So if it's your first time with me, we group every week, but I am leaving for vacation on the 19th, the 21st of December. I won't be back until the beginning of the year. So I am going on a cruise to Mexico with my little baby, my 19-year-old. She's 20. I'm sorry, she just turned 20. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great.